everyone, and welcome to this 15-minute yoga practice for mid-back pain. We're going to start off today's practice lying on your back with your knees bent, and we're going to start with some breathing practice. So most of the muscles in our mid-back ribcage are used for our breathing, so it's one really good way to reduce tension and kind of regulate your thorax if it's a little bit out of balance. And by thorax, I just mean your ribcage and your mid-back. You're going to place your hands on your belly, relax your arms into the ground, and have your knees bent and feet resting on the mat. Take a breath in through your nose and direct your breath down deep into the bottom of your lungs or in towards your belly. And as you breathe in, notice the belly rise into your hands, and when you breathe out, notice it soften and fall back. Breathing in through your nose, down deep into your belly. And breathing out through your nose or mouth, whichever you prefer. We're going to do 5 more breaths here, in sync with your own breath. You don't have to follow my exact instructions. 2 main focuses. 1, starting to breathe in through your nose. And 2, directing your breath down deep into the lower lungs. So we're not taking a big, huge breath, filling up the entire chest. We're just trying to get the air down deep. And last 2 breath cycles here. So that was focusing a lot on the front of the rib cage. Now we're going to focus on the side and the back slightly. I want you to let both of your knees just roll over to the left. If this feels a bit too tight for you or a little bit sore, just place your top leg, just place the foot on the ground, and it takes the pressure off. So it doesn't need to look the same as me. Whichever position is comfortable for you, get your hands, place your left hand on the front of your rib cage with the fingers creeping around to the back, and your right hand on the back of the rib cage, and the fingers will meet. And you're going to focus on breathing into the heels of your hands here. So as you breathe in, focus on your rib cage or lungs expanding forward into the left hand and back into the right hand. And as you breathe out, notice your rib cage recoil and soften back. 3 breaths here, so 2 more. You might also notice a difference between your left and right side in this exercise. So often we're really tight on one side and not on the other, and that can cause some discomfort. Bringing the legs back to the center, you're going to roll your legs over to the right. This side's a bit tighter on me, so I'm going to go for that modified version. If it feels really tight, you won't be able to move your rib cage when you breathe, so do go into the easier position with the foot down if you need to. Hands on the rib cage, right hand on the front, left hand on the back, fingertips kind of touch. Breathe into the heels of your hands. 3 breath cycles here. As you breathe in, feel the back of the rib cage expand into that left hand, and the front of the rib cage expand into the right hand. Last breath cycle here. And then bring both knees together, bring them back to the center, and we're going to roll onto our tummy. We're going to actually onto our side, not our tummy. Have a roll onto your side. If you need something to support your head, just pause the video and grab like a rolled up towel or a pillow. And mine's pretty resilient at the minute, so it'll be okay. You're going to pop, your knees are bent, your hands are one on top of the other. You're going to slide the right hand forward, feel your shoulder blades slide forward, and then slide the right hand back, keeping it straight until you get to just before the elbow. Bring that right hand to your chest, and then turn your torso as far as you comfortably can. Keep the hand on your breastbone and slide it back along your left hand. Slide it past your left hand a little bit. That'll get your shoulder blade to move forward. And then slide the hand back. You'll feel that shoulder blade bone move back around to the back of your ribcage. and twist to the right. And just 2 more. You can sync it up with your breath, so you can breathe in as you reach forward and breathe out as you bring the hand back. And last one. From here, we're going to roll onto our tummies. We're going to have our hands in what I call a goalpost position. So elbows in line with your shoulder, and you have a 90-degree bend in your elbow. Legs are chill, just really relaxed. Bring your right hand just under your right shoulder and bend your right knee. And then you're going to press into the right hand, lift the right leg, and bring it over to the left. You might feel a stretch in the front of your right hip or your left shoulder. And then bring the right leg back. Go back to your goalpost arms. Bring the left hand in under your shoulder, bend the left knee, and push yourself over to the right. This time you should feel a stretch in that right shoulder or the left hip at the front. And just go in and out of this 2 more times. And last round, right hand under shoulder, right leg lifts over to the left. Then bringing our arms down by our side, going into a little bit of dart. So we're going to try to get the muscles that attach our shoulder blade onto our ribs, just moving and working a little differently. So hands are floppy, shoulders are resting on the ground. If you have a sore neck, roll up a little towel and place it under your forehead here, so your neck can chill completely. If your neck feels fine, don't bother with that. Lift your shoulders away from the mat. Palms of the hands are facing up. Float the arms off the ground and hold for 3 seconds. You'll feel those shoulder blade bones sitting against the back of your rib cage. Then lower the arms, let the shoulders drop back down, and we're going to repeat that 3 more times. So lift the shoulders away, the shoulder blades have moved back. Then float the arms up so they're about parallel to the ground. Your thumbs can touch your thighs. Hands down, drop the shoulders, and 2 more. Lift the shoulders, set those shoulder blades back, and lift the arms up. And we got 1 more to go. So often when people have mid-back pain, their shoulder blades sit in this forward position all the time. So we're just teaching them a different way to work, to create a bit of balance around the shoulder blade muscles. Cool. And then we're going to do 4 more very similar, but your palms are facing down and your arms are out a bit wider, like 45 degrees-ish. Lift your shoulders away from the mat. Float the arms up. You're holding for 3 seconds and then lower down. Lift the shoulders away from the mat. Float the arms off the ground. And you got 2 more to do. These guys are quite good after a day working at the computer desk or doing any work where you kind of forward all the time or using your arms repetitively. Then bring both hands to the front of the mat, elbows under your shoulders and forearms are parallel. And we're just going to prop ourselves up on our forearms, lift our breastbone up, and we're in a Sphinx pose, as per yoga terms. Make sure the rest of your back is relaxed. You should be able to wiggle your kind of hips, pelvis. And you're just taking 3 breaths here, breathing in through your nose, down deep into the back of the rib cage or into the tummy. So breathe down deep into your lower lungs and breathe out and just feel your belly and your whole spine rest into the ground. It'll just be your lower back resting into the ground in this pose. 2 more breath cycles here. And then we're going to bring our hands back under our shoulders, keep our knees wide, and we're going to just press back into a child's pose just to balance us out a little bit. Rest your forehead on the mat and just rock your head from left to right. And this will just free out your neck if it got a little bit of tension while you were doing all that stuff lying on your tummy, in case it wasn't used to it. Then you're going to come forward and you're going to lie on your right side. I'm just going to swap directions so you can see me. So this time we're going to go back through and do that left arm. So your left arm's on top, You're going to slide your top hand forward and then slide it back along your right arm to your breastbone and turn to the left. And we're going to do 2 more of these, sliding the left arm forward. Let your shoulder blade reach forward around your rib cage, and then slide your shoulder blade back. Bring your hand to your breastbone. And one or 2 more. We probably did more on the other side, so let's do 2 more. And just notice if there's a difference between sides. This side feels a lot easier for me. We're going to roll onto our tummies again. Pop our hands into that goalpost position. Whoops, my microphone fell off. Put your hands in the goalpost position. Bring your left hand under your left shoulder. Lift your left leg up and twist over to the right. You'll feel a stretch in the front of your right shoulder. Bring it back. Let's swap to the other side. Put that left arm in goalpost position, elbow in line with your shoulder. Lift your right leg up and over. And let's just go for 2 more on each side. You can go at your own pace. You can go a little bit slower if you wish. Don't go faster. Then we're going to bring our arms down by our sides for our 4 darts. And those darts are just those exercises where you lift your arms. So let the shoulders kind of hang forward onto the mat. Support your head if you need to, your forehead with a little roll towel. Lift your shoulders away from the ground and then feel your shoulder blades hug your upper back. Then lift the arms. Hold for 3 seconds. Lower the arms and the shoulders. And just 2, 3 more to go. And last one. And then have the palms facing down, lift the shoulders, float the arms. Holding for 3 seconds. And our last one. Get the shoulder blades to hug the upper back. Then bring your hands forward, pull your elbows so that they're under your shoulders. You're in your little Sphinx pose. 2 breath cycles here, breathing in through your nose, down deep into the bottom of your lungs. And then breathe out through your nose or mouth. Hands under your shoulders, press back into a child's pose. Rock your head from left to right to free out any tension in the neck. And then come forward onto all 4s. I'm just going to do a simple cat-cow. If you want, focus on the movement kind of coming from your breastbone, or focus your brain on that area. So as you inhale, lift your breastbone forward, and as you exhale, round your breastbone back. If there was a light on your breastbone, it'll shine to the wall in front of you, and then it'll point back between your thighs or your knees. And then from here, we're going to tuck our toes underneath, and we're going to come to standing on the top of the mat. So I'm just going to walk my feet forward towards my hands. Keep a soft bend in your knees. And as you inhale, lift up to halfway. Shoulder blades slide back. As you exhale, fold down. As you breathe in, come all the way up into standing. I'm just going to face the camera so you can see what I'm doing. And we're going to bring your arms overhead. Take a hold of your right wrist and reach your right wrist up and over to the left. Then take your left hand and just pop it on your rib cage. Make sure the right ribs aren't flaring out, so push the front of the right rib cage in. And think about breathing into that right side of your rib cage for 2 or 3 breaths here. Make sure you have a good wide stance with your feet, so you have a good base of support, good balance. Then bring that right arm down, bring your feet back together. You're going to fold at your hips, so you're going to go down into a chair pose. And again, make sure that those front ribs are connected in, so you're not all tense through that mid-back area. Tug the front ribs in. Bring your right arm in front. Bring your left arm underneath it. And we're going to do a little eagle arms. Now, if you can't do that, that's fine. You can just lift the arms up. Or you can hold on to your shoulders and just lift them up. And you're here for just 2 breaths, and you should feel a little bit of an opening or a stretch through the back of your right shoulder blade. You might also feel your legs work a little bit in the chair pose. Then unravel the arms, fold forward, breathe in to lift up halfway, breathe out to fold forward, and then inhale to come all the way back up into your mountain pose or your standing pose. You're going to rotate the arms so the thumbs face out. Make sure those ribs are connected in. And then think about reaching your right arm down to the bottom right corner of the floor. You'll feel a bit of a nervy stretch. And then tip your head over to the left shoulder. Pull your right arm back a little bit if you can tolerate it. And then just nod your head forward and back very gently. So you should feel a stretch through the right side of the neck. And if you're quite tense or tight, you might feel a little bit of nervy sensation down through the arm, and that can feel like tingling or almost like a little bit of numbness. I've obviously been working too hard this week. And then bring your head back to the center, over to the right. Reach your left hand down to the bottom left corner of the room. Tip your head to the right, and then nod your head forward and back gently. And just notice if there's a difference between sides. So my left side, no tingling. My right side, lots of tingling. So too much tension in my right side. Cool, come back to the center. We're going to fold forward towards the ground. Come back into our cat-cow pose. You're going to inhale to lift the head and the tail. Exhale to round. One more. Then tuck the toes underneath. We're going to bring our feet forward towards our hands. Place our hands on our shins. Keep our knees bent. Breathe in as you lift halfway. Breathe out as you fold forward. And then your breath in is going to take you all the way up into mountain pose. Turn the arms so the thumbs point out. Bring your arms overhead, and this time take a hold of your left wrist. Reach up and over to the right. You can place your right hand on your left side rib cage if you want. If your left arm's getting tired there, just let it rest on your head. And you're breathing into that left side of your rib cage. 2 more breaths here. And then bring that left arm back down. We're going to go into a chair pose. Sit your hips back. Make sure that you're not flaring those ribs. So put your hands on your lower ribs at the front and push them in a little bit. Bring your arms forward. Left arm goes on top this time. Right arm underneath. And then see if you can take a hold of your hands like this in an eagle pose. Otherwise, you can place your hands on your shoulders. That's fine. Lift the arms a little if you can, so you'll feel the stretch into the back of that left shoulder blade. And you're here for 3 breath cycles. Your legs might do a little work while you're hanging out here as well. Then release the arms, fold forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold forward. And then inhale to come all the way back up. Our last little stretch. Turn the arms out. Reach that right arm down towards the bottom right corner of the room. Tilt your head over to the left. And just rock your head forward and back very gently. If this is too much, you can do it with the right arm resting in on your hip instead, and it will reduce the stretch. And then bring your head over to the right. You can have that left arm reaching down to the bottom left corner of the room, pulled back a bit if you want, or you can have it on your hip. And just nod the head very gently, small movement forward and back. Bring your head back to the center, and a quick little review of those posture cues that you can bring into your everyday. So if you just place your hands on your lower rib cage, think about tugging the front of the rib cage down and in, and that creates space at the back. I don't want you to flatten your whole back, so you should still be able to wiggle your hips. You should still have a little dip in your lower back. So front of the rib cage pulls down and in to create space in the back, and then just relax the arms. And you're all good. Well done.